Right, so a bit of context. So if you are in sales, you probably are or have been or have seen a situation where you spend time and effort in discovery calls and actually prospects opportunities that are never going to buy. Perhaps you have found or experienced prospects not coming to a call and disappearing off the face of the earth altogether, even though they gave you positive feedback before. And sometimes prospects, even though they give us good feedback, they actually don't believe that we have the best solution to their problems, because there's more than one solution to a problem. They don't necessarily think that our way of solving it is the best or what they need. And the problem with this, if you continue for too long, is basically working on opportunities that are never going to buy, and basically because prospects are looking for something that you can't give them. But there's also another situation, another scenario where you can get to uncover what prospects truly care about. And also, you have clarity on where you can and where you cannot help those prospects, and therefore you are more selective with who you want to work with. And you know that because you know what questions you need to be asking specifically to immediately qualify if this is a good prospect, if you can help them, if there's any point in you continuing those conversations. And the positive outcome would be that you eventually focus on prospects who believe you have the best possible solution to your problems. So having said that, I'm going to take you through the contents. I'm going to jump to my iPad quickly and take you through. So today we're going to be covering 3 steps, basically, in order to get prospects to tell us that we have the best, not only a possible solution to their problems, but the best solution to their problems. And notice how I'm not saying we have to tell them that we can solve the problems. It's actually getting them to admit or recognize that you have the best solution to their problems. And it's basically a 3-step process. Aligning your solution to the buyer's problems is a 3-step process. And first of all, we need to start from the solutions that you provide. Yeah. So think about your solutions, how you can actually help clients. And we're not talking about anything and everything you do. We're talking about things that you can do really well, where you are an expert. And more importantly, that you can prove that you have helped similar clients before. Yeah, so there is some sort of proof, which is a story that you can tell, or maybe a case study or some sort of reference, and so on. Right. So start from the solutions. Then once you have identified or written down all the solutions, the next step would be to identify the problems that clients typically face when they're looking for those solutions. Yeah. So what problems are actually the clients facing when they buy your solutions? You need to think how they talk about those things, the language that they use, and so on. And once you have identified the problems and the solutions, the 3rd step would be to identify the objectives that those problems are stopping your clients from getting to. And so the idea is, for instance, and by the way, those objectives, they need to have a date. Yeah, there has to be some sort of date they need to achieve that objective by. And the objective is typically the main KPI that the organization is measuring your contact by. So that KPI, that specific objective, has to have a date they need to achieve it by, and needs to be quantifiable. Yeah. If they don't have a date and they don't have way of measuring that objective, it's going to be kind of tricky for you to hold them engaged, to keep them engaged in the process, because it's not a nice to have. Yeah, so what you want to help them realize is that they need your solutions to solve the problems, to get to their objectives. And if they don't leverage your solutions, then they won't hit your objectives. So that's why it's important that they must achieve those objectives, that there is a date they need to achieve it by, and that this is quantifiable, right? So for instance, in my case, one of the problems that we mentioned before is that sales guys spend too much time on the wrong prospects. Yeah. And so the solution for that problem, in my case, is to help them align solutions. But notice how there could be potentially other things that could help a client solve that problem. Yeah, that maybe they can do some training, or maybe they can work with an outsourcing company, and maybe they can outsource sales to a different company. There are more than one solution to a problem. Yeah. So the idea here, what we're trying to do is to get prospects to convince, to admit that we have the best possible solution for their problem, so that in their minds they recognize that. And when we achieve that, we say that that value proposition is differentiated, because they, as I said before, it is you the only solution that they see they need to help achieve those objectives they need to achieve by a certain date, and that can be quantified.